Okay, so I'm going to put together a little video for you guys out there who are having trouble making your wrapper methods. This is the same program that we've been looking at in class, which when you run it will pop up with a snowman and the start of a fairly decent looking tree, but we're going to work on that in class as well. Okay, so right now I don't like the fact that I have to set the color and use the graphics.fillRect method for a rectangle. It would be much more convenient, and my code would, I think, look neater if I could just type in rectangle, whoops, spell it right, and put the upper left corner of where my rectangle should start at, which is 0, 0, and the width in this case I am using whatever I have at the top of my program for my width and my height. And then what I would like to do is have a true or false, in this case true, Boolean value for whether or not my rectangle is going to get filled in, and then the color that I would like my rectangle to be, and in this case it will be light blue. So if I could just type that and have that as my line of code instead of these two lines, I think that my code would look much prettier and easier to work with. So I'm going to take these two lines and make a wrapper function with them. Notice I already have a wrapper method here for triangle, which I've used down here to make my tree. So those two lines of code I'm going to put in right here below the comment that I already had set up before I started taping this tutorial. So this comment says wrapper method for rectangles. Method incorporates the fill, no fill attribute, that was the true false I talked about, into the method as well as the color. Okay, so there's my comment. First line in my wrapper method would be the method signature, which is going to be public, no word static, because we actually have an object, but you don't need to know about the word static yet. So public void, there's no return on this. It's going to be called rectangle because I think that makes a good name. And then what order did I decide to put things in down here? The X, Y. So those are both integer values. So I'll call them ints because this is where my parameters go, and my parameters are essentially written the same way as you would declaring variables. What's next? The width, the height, those again, ints. I'm just going to call them W and H for width and height. What's next? I have true, so my Boolean value, and that's going to be whether my rectangle is filled in or not, so I think fill makes a good name. And the last thing I have, light blue, that's a color. And there is a type, an object type, notice the uppercase C, called color. And I might as well just call that C. So that is my method signature. I am going to define a method body between the curly braces. These two lines will be in there somewhere. I'm going to change them a little bit because I don't want every single rectangle to be light blue and be this size. So first of all, what color would I like them to be? I'd like them to be whatever the color was that was passed in, so we will use the variable C. Now the fill, that's going to indicate whether this rectangle is filled in or if it's just the outline of a rectangle. So I will use that Boolean value, if fill, to tell me whether to use the fill rect or actually I'll just take this much of it, something called drawRect. Now the 0, 0 width and height, I don't want every triangle or rectangle to be those dimensions. I would like them to be whatever was passed in as an argument. So in other words, the value that comes in the x and y in the parameter list above, and the w and h. That will be the same whether we are doing a fill rect or the drawRect. So now we have a color being set and the choice being made between a filled in rectangle or the outline of a rectangle. So that should be all I need. So down here I'm passing in my actual values called arguments, and we should get exactly the same drawing as we had before, but the code is easier to work with. So let's see, did it work? And there is our picture drawn the same way. The blue rectangle is the one that is using our wrapper method. Let's go down and also change these lines of code to use our wrapper method, and these two lines of code make the black hat on top of the snowman. So instead of calling this, we will call our rectangle wrapper method with the XY coordinate, the width and height. We also want to say that it's filled in, and it's going to be black. So again, make this change. This one's going to be filled in as well, and this one will also be black. Up here where I change the color to black, I will get rid of this line, but first I have to make wrapper methods for my ovals, and that is the next thing that you should do on your own, whether or not you're using ovals, because I'm going to look for your wrapper method for oval when I mark this project, and you will get points for having actually built the wrapper method for your ovals. Okay, good luck. Hope your program works. Oh, maybe I should prove to you that this works. I think we all know it's going to work. And there's the hat, using the wrapper method instead of the old code. Okay? Good luck.